How's it going, everyone? It's week two of Pick the Lock, and I'm here with Michael Verney. Shane Stapleton still can't show his face. And I was kind of considering whether I would show my face after last weekend as well. I had picked Shinrone, my lock, or Shinrone. They lost by a goal to Coolderry. You cannot beat, I suppose, the wily coyote that is Brian Carroll. I think your horse is still running as well, Verney, is he?
Yeah, he was disappointing. Now I don't know if something was a bit off with him, but very very disappointing run. It was his worst run in 11 runs this year. So Asher, listen, these things happen. We just have to try and get back on track this week.
Oh, yes, we do. Keep in mind what we have. And Shane, of course, had locked Ballyhale Shamrocks -4, and so did the viewers, according to the polls. So
the ability of the handicapper to get it right is unbelievable in GA terms. It's actually, I remember one time Dublin played someone in under 21 football. I think it was Longford, and the handicap was -23, and they won by 23. Their ability to get it right on the money is crazy. It's crazy how accurate they are.
I remember for a while they had to stop putting the handicap on the Kilkenny footballers as well for whatever reason, anyway, after asking a few lads. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I'd say the ref must have known, because he kept the whistle in his pocket long enough. Anyway, I was sitting on the sideline. I kept looking at the scoreboard, going, Ballyhale clear now. And next thing, it was just ticking down and down and down. The injury time went on forever and ever. And next thing, George Malloy got that long range point where he was trying to nearly lob it in. I think that dropped over the crossbar, and I burst out laughing. I was going, "Oh, if this was your banker, like, for the weekend, like, oh, what a kick in the stones." But of course, so we're all on 0-1 after 1 week. We need to get to at least 500, as the Yanks would say, no, this week. So there's actually good. Did anything catch your eye this week, as far as GA would say, in Gaelic football or in hurling?
Yeah, a few hurling ones. I think there's a few counties or a few clubs that are good bets at odds against, I have to say. And even one that isn't odds against is Lomans are 4-6 to win the Westmeath County final. Didn't get to check the handicap, but it would be no more than 2, I'd say. And I'd be surprised. I'm surprised if they don't win it, even though Gary Castle are kind of wily foxes and are very hard beaten in the county final. Lomans manager is Declan Kelly, who managed Offaly to win the All-Ireland under-20s earlier this year, and he was with Lomans last year as well. So that's something that I definitely consider. There's in a few county finals, like Lockmore 9-4 to beat Thurles Sarsfields in Tipperary. And I think that's more than fair. I wouldn't touch Sars at 2-5 in an accumulator, if I'm honest with you. I don't think I'd touch him at probably -3 or -4 even money either. So that's one that definitely took me. I tell you, I'm not going to give away what my one was, but another one would be Tullamore 11-8 to win the football in Offaly. Now, Alan McNamee is back, having been suspended the first day. Tullamore, I was at this game, Tullamore threw it away the first day. And I looked at them coming off. Road were celebrating like they'd won another county final. And Tullamore were, they looked heartbroken, to be honest with you. But I just think, I was actually outside the dressing room as they were coming out. And they were all tick, but they looked like lads to me that weren't going to let it get to them, and they didn't look like beaten men coming out of that dressing room. That's just my opinion anyway, just from basic human psychology. And I think they'll win the next day just about.
Yeah.
They're 11-8. They're 11-8 to win that. So there's a couple of odds against. I haven't given away what I think my lock is yet, but there are definitely a couple of good GA bets this weekend.
Oh, there is. I was looking at a good few there this morning as well. And even Turin versus Ballyhaunis as well is 1-2 versus 7-4. That's tight, like, too. And then Ina Kilnamona are 4-9 against Ballyea, but the handicap is 3. And like Ballyea without Tony Kelly, you think Ina Kilnamona should be covering that? You know, maybe, but you never know, I suppose. And then I actually really liked as well, something that jumped out to me there. Kilmacud Crokes are in the Senior B county final as well. Like last year,
I was actually going to ask you about this because I reckoned you had intel on this.
No, just Castleknock or evens just to win, which I like the look of, because this year in the hurling, in the Senior B Championship, they've been flying, like, really, like and they're underage hurling and everything. They've been going really well, and there's a kind of fierce excitement around the club. They're only down the road from me here now as well, where I'm living. So I would not to say I'd lock it up, but this is a very attractive kind of a price, like evens, to win a county final. And then the big one, obviously, in the big smoke, Na Fianna versus Kilmacud Crokes in the Senior A. So they're in the Senior A and the Senior B final. We did that last year. It's hard to win both, but -1 Kilmacud Crokes are to beat Na Fianna. And I know Ryan O'Dwyer was kind of saying there that it could go the other way, or he's expecting it to go the other way. But I don't know. I think Crokes have too many dangerous forwards. That, it's one of them things. If you close down one of them, who's going to close down all the other lads? And they're young and energetic, but then they have the old lads who have been there and done that, or have been there and know that a county final doesn't come every year. And this is probably they would say, I would think anyway, this would be their best chance in a long time. So -1, I think, Crokes is definitely one that stood out for me as well.
I think you're the same as me. If Crokes win, I think Crokes win by 4 or 5. That's my opinion on that game. If they lose, they lose. But I just think there's been a decent overhaul of personnel in recent years. I don't think there'll be much baggage really. You see young lads coming into teams there, and they're all real talented players as well. They just won't care on county final day. They've beaten Coola, and they'll think they can beat anybody else, and they think they can go on a run in Leinster if they win on Saturday evening as well.
Yeah, and they have the way they play. Like I'm fairly sure Niall Corcoran is involved some way in their coaching system as well. Their structure, like on the field and everything, the way they play, it's so hard to break down. Like, and you're going to have to get goals to beat them. Like, you're going to have to probably score at least 2 because Ronan Hayes and Oisin O'Rourke and Whiteley and Dara Purcell, the lads on the other side, they have goals in them, like more than 1. So yeah, I think -1 is. It's just, I think, too good to ignore. Anyway, look, I'd be all over that now if I was going, but it's not my lock. It's not my lock for this week.
Well, I kind of am going with experience for my lock. I probably went with a horse last week, maybe just because I was after chatting to the trainer, and we just got into my head. I thought this was a great bet or whatever. But this week I'm going with experience. You mentioned about Aina Kilnamona. This is Aina Kilnamona's first county final. They were only formed 13 years ago. They've been impressive up until this date. But Ballyea 2-1 to me is a bet for a team that have been to an All-Ireland club final. Fair enough, they're missing probably one of the top 3 hurlers in the country at the moment. But I just think, Gary Brennan, Paul Flanagan, Jack Brown, Pierce Lillis, Cotton O'Connor. I'm locking Ballyea down this weekend. I'm going for the experience. I just think 2-1. Like, to me, that's a 50-50 game. 2-1 is big value in that game, I have to say. If Kilnamona are able to cover the spread, in their first county final, I just think the Ballyea boys have all the experience in their favour, all the know-how in their favour, and I think they'll just ground them down.
Lock it up, baby. Hanging onions. Picking an underdog to win a county final. That's class. 2-1 is a big price in the county final. And actually, another one that stood out again to me there in Galway, that was a big price for just a match, like, right? A local derby, I know, and whatever, is Gort at 3-1. Now, I couldn't find a handicap price for it or anything, but 3-1 just to win the game. I know Thomases are really good and all that, but it's just a massive price. Not again. Just sometimes I'd be looking for value if I was throwing down 5 or 10 or here and there, like. But yeah, Shane, by the way, sticking with the GA bets, Shane is locking up Corofin -2 versus Mount Bellew. My lock, he's going for them -2 to cover the spread. There you go again. They have to cover again.
I like it because they were obviously the one. Mount Bellew, my lock, were obviously the ones that ended the streak. The streak is over, and you'd imagine Corofin will come back with with massive intent to try and get one over on them. And if they're going to beat them, I don't think they're going to be beating them by a point again. Do you know that kind of logic? I just think like if it's going to be tight, I think Mount Bellew could win the game. But I think if Corofin win, they're winning by 5 or 6. Like Corofin is stepped by 1,000 cuts. There's so many different lads that can hurt you. I think that's not a bad bet. And I'm delighted he didn't get to go with a straight up Shamrocks Ballyhale winning last week or whatever, 2-5 or whatever. It was an absolute joke. And at least like that's if we're backing odds on shots, sure, it's a waste of time. I think here on it has to be even money or better. And even if I'm giving 2-1, like I think if Ballyhale win, I think I should be 2-1 then next week, because it's not just 1-1. I'm not giving even money here. I'm giving 2-1.
No. It's just there's one lock per week. It's 1-1-1. They all count as one.
Well, I'm going to add up, if I get a couple up that are more than even money, I'm going to add them up and I'm going to keep my own score each week.
Do by. It's like a sideline coach in hurling. Look, the point is a point, right? Goes over the bar, goes over the bar.
A winner is a winner.
Yeah. So we'll move to, or have you any horses written? Or
no,
any
not
other,
major this weekend. Bob Ollinger that won at Cheltenham is jumping fences for the first time in public on Saturday, but he'll be absolutely no price. It's difficult. The horse I tipped last week was on the Friday night. You actually don't have the declarations for Sunday yet. So, and I haven't really got to go through Saturday's ones yet. So it's difficult to go through them in any great detail to make sure you actually have a certain runner.
Wasn't Bob Ollinger the fella who had Billy the Kid locked in prison in Lincoln City, and then Billy the Kid bust the window and shot him out the window with the buckshot?
You're gone over my head there now. It could well be. You're gone over my head. I think that was
Bob Ollinger, yeah, shot him and just shouted, "Hello, Bob," and then shot him and "Goodbye, Bob." And
one shot, bang, bang.
Back of the head. So speaking of America, there's a nice transition there. You'd swear I was a pro at this. I'm going to go into the NFL. There's loads of what they'd call get right games, right, after last weekend. And make sure as well, lads, sorry, as we're going, get your comments in there if there is anything that stands out, because the soccer this weekend, because it's an international break, there wasn't too many that stood out. I know Ireland are playing Portugal tonight, and I saw both teams to score. It was even money, which sounds good, looks good to me. It was the only one that really stood out. I remember one time Shane Duffy paid for a holiday for me against Denmark. He was 18-1 for first goal, and I put 20 quid on him or something, and I got a holiday out of it. And so there's usually some weird funny thing there with the Ireland pricing, but evens for both teams to score, I like to look at that. But that's Thursday night.
Hey, forget about the NFL for a second. What's your best gambling story?
My best gambling story?
Yeah, like is there anything particularly memorable apart from Shane Duffy paying for a holiday?
Yes, the day before the All-Ireland Club final against Ballier, I had 12.50 on Ruby Walsh to win all his races on the Friday in Cheltenham, and he won every single one of them, and I got back. So it was 4 races, 4 wins. I got back €1,500.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was nuts. I actually had forgotten I had the bet done, and I logged into my account and I saw I had a cash out option. I was like, "What's that?" Clicked on it, and it was like, "Oh my god!" And I said, "No, I'm not going to cash out. I'll leave it right for the last race." And there you go.
The celebrations were sorted. You had at least 2 weeks of celebration sorted thereafter.
I went on the beer and hurling in America for 2 weeks on the back of that. Yeah,
that's
for the Easter holidays. It was class. So make sure to get your comments in, because we need your thoughts, your comments, your picks, your locks, the viewers, because you're 0-1 as well, remember. And we'll do the poll as well for ye. And whoever wins the poll, of course, judged on the 4 best or 4 most frequently picked, we're going to throw up the poll. Maybe you might agree with me, you might agree with Vern, you might agree with Shane's lock. That's fine. Last week he agreed with Shane, got you nowhere. So this week,
in fairness, wouldn't have got them anywhere going with us now either, to be fair.
Cool Derry were a close second. So they were actually a close second on the poll. So if few more people had voted for Cool Derry, you'd have won your lock, and you would have been on a lock off against me. You can go on a lock off against one of us as well, prove you're smarter than us. But anyway, like I said, keep commenting in. We'll see what comes up. What's the trend? Last week, like for example, it was a massive shout there, and I kind of was wary of it. The New York Giants 13-10 to beat the Raiders. That came in. The Raiders, they're so dodgy. But anyway, look, that was a huge shout in. I cannot remember who commented it in, but that was a huge shout.
He had Golden Pal in the Breeders' Cup in, won a 5-2 as well. That was his lock of the week. So pretty sweet one there.
By God. Well, there you go. We know nothing. So this weekend, in the NFL, now there's a game tonight at Thursday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens versus the Dolphins. There you go. Look, Giants beat the Raiders last week. There you go, Andrew Sullivan, good man. I could see your face. I couldn't think of your name. So yeah, that was a huge call. I was just too wary of that. Like the Raiders are a team, one of them teams I'd never bet on, I'd never bet against. But actually, I'm going to bring them up now on this weekend as well. So but mainly because of the Kansas City Chiefs. So last week I was going to lock up the Packers, but then Rodgers was out because of COVID. So I just stayed away from it. But then they're spread. So the Packers, this is how effective a quarterback is, right? The Packers were -1 And next thing, Rogers was out, and they went to plus 7.5, and they ended up covering because the Kansas City Chiefs have an absolutely terrible record against the spread in the NFL. This year, they're 2-7 against the spread, so only 2 wins, 7 losses against the spread. Last year, they were 8-11, I think it was. So they have a terrible record against the spread, and they're playing brutally. They're playing against the Raiders this weekend, and the spread is 2.5. So do with that what you will. But other than that, there's a couple of get-right games, as they call it in America. The Bills looking to beat the Jets. The Buccaneers looking to beat the Washington football team. The Bills are minus 13, and the Bucs are minus 9.5. And then, so these are a couple of the big spreads that I would be not expecting, but would be fairly confident that they would be. Well, yeah, look at expecting. I'd be thinking these ones would come in, right? The Bills minus 13 over the Jets because they laid an egg last week. The Bills, who would be considered one of the best teams in the NFL. The Buccaneers were brutal against the Saints a couple of weeks ago. Angry Tom Brady, coming off a bye week, will be ready to hammer, I think, the Washington football team, who have no name anymore, of course. And then there's a couple of tight ones that I really like, which is, right, the Patriots are 8-11 at home to the Cleveland Browns just to win. They're minus 1.5 in the spread, right? The LA Rams are minus 4 against the 49ers, which I like. And if you double those up, it's over 2.5 to 1, which I really like, because when the games are that close, usually you go with the combo of quarterback and coach versus the other quarterback and coach. I trust Mac Jones, Bill Belichick, and their defense over Stefanski and a hurt Baker Mayfield at the minute. So I would be looking at, minus 1.5. I think they'll cover. The Rams, the 49ers are absolutely terrible this season at home. Terrible. Awful. The fans are booing them out of the stadium. I think they've lost every game they've played at home, which doesn't even make sense because loads of people are tipping them to win the Super Bowl at the start of the year. No, Rams, terrible game last week against, Vikings plus 3 against the Chargers. This is a game I was going to talk about that I want to stay away from. But then again, look, Andrew, you were bang on the money last week. So I'm a Packers fan. I hate the Vikings and I don't trust them. I don't trust the Chargers yet either. They're so up and down. Justin Herbert is an unbelievable quarterback though. So that's just too close. There's so many stay away games now. And I am going to go with my lock of the week. No surprises here after I dissed him last weekend, because I think he's being cleared this Saturday to come back onto the field. David Bakhtiari, one of the best in the game. The offensive line is getting healthy again. My Green Bay Packers, I'm locking them up, baby. They're minus 3.5 against the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson, I think, is back as well with his gammy finger, but he has a terrible record, absolute terrible record against the Packers in Lambeau. So I am locking up my Green Bay Packers minus 3.5 to cover at home versus the Seahawks. Now, speaking of the Rams, the Patriots, and the Packers, I was looking at trebling them up, and it is over 5 to 1 to cover the spread, which as an outside bet, I really like. But as my lock of the week, I trust Rodgers when he comes back from COVID. Hopefully he's back and fine and healthy. To beat Russell Wilson. Seahawks are not doing well. Who knows? Odell Beckham Jr. could be dressed for the Packers, but I doubt it. So, I'm locking up my Green Bay Packers, baby.
That was some NFL monologue you went on there. Any rapping Andy Kelly? Are you really a rapper, Andy, or is it just a clever nickname? He says,
get ready for Christmas.
Any horses for Cheltenham? It's a bit early. Over the next while, I haven't seen enough of a lot of horses, but over the next few weeks, might start throwing up a few kind of anti-post kind of bets. James 6500 has in an actual GA question. Tipperary have awfully scraped an under 21 and tip last age group next season. I'm finding it hard to make that out. I have to say.
I think you mean scrapped instead of scraped.
Oh yeah, Tipperary's structure seemed to have changed completely after a county board meeting the other night. I think some of the divisional systems are gone, which is that's a massive thing in Tipperary's history that looks like it's been abolished.
Yeah, and I heard in the rumour mill there as well, they're talking about restructuring the whole underage in Dublin as well, that they're bringing in under 17 and under 19 competitions now as well, just to keep people at it.
Yeah, well, it's a big gap. 17 to 20 is a fair gap because 18 to 21 wasn't as big a gap because the time you get to 18, lads are a bit more mature. At 16, 17, very, very difficult. You could see an awful lot of lads dropping out.
You're betting with your heart for the second week in a row, and you should. Well, I wouldn't say that. Now. I've no like my heart wasn't connected to Shinrone. I just kind of thought, they were beaten twice already by them during the year, and not by much. And it was just like, kind of, come on, lads, just claw, get over the line. That was, and I just wanted to hang me onions, pick an underdog last week. This week I'm picking a favourite. So, look, I love the Packers, obviously, right? But you cannot go against Rodgers in Lambeau. Now he's coming off the COVID, so it is still kind of dodgy. If he's not playing, I don't like that bet at all. So we have to wait probably till Saturday. But I'm just locking it up now, here and now. And speaking of American sports, again, I don't know if anyone has noticed my jacket. Look at this. Bernie, do you know what that is?
Coach Bombay.
Coach Bombay, baby. Wait till you see this.
Oh, the mighty Ducks. That's lethal.
How do you like?
I thought you were going to be wearing Tom Landry's hat.
No, no, I couldn't get my hands on that yet. It's Coach Bombay. I am the Irish version of Coach Gordon Bombay, an underage star who lost his way somewhere in the middle of life. Now he's back trying to find himself in the twilight of his career while also coaching young fellas for the game he used to love.
Hey, Michael Rice absolutely cut you to shreds last week on commentary. I think you were on a Kilkenny underage team that Colin Fennelly wasn't on or couldn't make. And he basically said, look at how the two of them have developed since. I just heard the word Ferbert and I said, oh no, he's after being cut to pieces here.
And I just said into the microphone, but you couldn't hear it obviously. I was like, you and he burst it. But so Colin was a sub, like, so it was just, so me and Colin are the exact same age, same birthday, everything, whatever. And I was just saying there, because your man, the fella that plays, oh geez, here we go now, plays full back for Loughlin's, his name is Tony Forstall. So Brian Tyres was asking, is he related to your man that the tournament is named after? Mike Rice says, no, I don't think so. So then I just said, just messing, I just goes, hey, you're looking at the first ever player of the tournament in Tony Forstall right here. And next thing, they kind of looked and I was like, whatever, just said thought nothing of it. And then Brian Tyres says, I'm going to mention that in commentary. I said, don't. He goes, who else is on that team? I said, well, actually out in the field there, I said, Mark Berrigan was on it. I was centre back, Mark was centre forward. I said, oh, Colin Fennelly was it? And I goes, oh, actually, I think Colin was a sub and Paul Murphy was corner forward. And then next he goes, Colin was a sub. I said, well, yeah, he was tiny, you see, at that time. He grew and I didn't. And then he decided, well, anyway, look, stitched up. I got stitched up by Michael Rice. Anyway,
we're all good. I think we're hopefully we're going to turn it around this week. We're going to get a few locks nailed in this week. Get the punters back on track again. Yeah,
we need to big time. But keep an eye on those the spreads in the NFL as well, right? And Mr. Sullivan there as well. Look, maybe someone should start following him on Twitter. So get your comments in as you've plenty of time, lads. We'll put the poll up again between now and Saturday, and then by lunchtime Saturday, when the votes are all done, that is who the viewers have picked. So keep the comments rolling in underneath the video here, and get your locks in. Michael Verney, you're happy with your lock?
All good, yeah. Happy. Have the experience for the weekend.
Go Pack, go. See you next Thursday. Lock it in, baby.
Good luck.